Since the dawn of gaming, video games have had simple names. Its samples include Pong, yep, that makes sense. Castlevania, yes, is named after the castle, that tracks. Mario Kart, yep, I see Mario on a kart racer, makes perfect sense. But then something started to change, and we started getting games named Triangle Strategy, or Various Day Life, or The Diofield Chronicle. Seriously, who's in charge of these names back at Square Enix, and how can we take this font away from them? Thankfully, the folks at Galvanic Games decided to go with a straightforward title for their new co-op survival game, Wizard Wiz a Gun. And it does exactly what it says on the tin. You're playing as a wizard, with a gun. So that's what we're really here to talk about. Is Wizard Wiz a Gun a great co-op game for you and your best friend? Let's find out.
Finish
Let's go.
Nice. Good work. Good work.
That was awesome.
That like oil combo with the fire, and then you were shooting the poison.
Yeah, that was
like keeping all the stats effects up. That was super cool.
That was super cool.
Setting up your lobby in Wizard Wiz a Gun is as straightforward as the title. You first need to designate someone the host who will proceed to the host multiplayer option. Then the guest player will be able to join via the join multiplayer option. You'll both be given the option to go through the tutorial or skip it, but we highly recommend you go through it. Then you'll get to customize your very own wizard before finally entering the wizard tower and actually starting the game. As you can expect, only the host will retain any progress you made together, but the second player gets to keep all their items and will find their character pretty much intact the next time you guys play together. Other than that, both players have agency in the game to do anything they want. There is no weird player one superiority here. And that pretty much wraps things up for this section. Let's chat gameplay loop now. To give you a bit of background, the plot of Wizard Wiz a Gun revolves around a wizard which crash lands on a place called the Shatter. The Shatter is overrun with chaos monsters who inevitably bring about the end of time, and it's your job to prevent that. You'll start the game at your wizard tower, which acts as your hub. Here you'll find your various crafting stations, as well as a doorway that lets you embark on an expedition to the Shatter. But before you do that, you need to stop at the Chronomancer wheel to turn back time. See, once you step to the doorway, you have 5 minutes to explore the landscape before the apocalypse begins. Your goal on an expedition is to gather gears for the wheel, which you do by defeating mini-bosses. The gears will then gradually expand the map until you can find the final boss for that biome. Defeating these guys, which are really cool by the way, will grant you the last gear you need to move on to the next biome where the process starts again. You can't just rush the boss however, this is a survival game after all, and a lot of your time will be spent gathering resources, restocking your ammo, and crafting higher level bullets back at the tower. Crafting is a huge part of this game and actually requires a good bit of experimentation as to how to get certain items. This is definitely one of the more divisive parts of the game, but we'll get to that later. Let's finally talk co-op. Most survival games are naturally better with friends, and that is especially true in Wizard Wiz a Gun. You can accomplish a lot together, and we often discuss what our goal for each expedition should be. Some runs we split up and simply gather resources, while others we send someone out to look for mini-bosses while the other hunted down some chaos monsters. You're limited to 5 minutes at the start of your run, but by killing chaos monsters you can extend your countdown and stick around longer. Managing the countdown, resource gathering, and defeating mini-bosses is a tough balancing act, so it's really helpful having another person around. You'll also be grateful to have someone to manage everything back at the tower too. As you unlock more recipes and crafting stations, it can get overwhelming pretty easily, but we split up responsibilities there too. Andrew took charge of crafting all of our healing items, while I spent a whole session roleplaying Marie Kondo and organizing where everything should go.
Like they can only face either this way or face like towards the abyss right now. Oh
yeah.
My god, that's so lame. I hate that. Oh god, I hate it.
We haven't talked enough about the gun part of Wizard Wiz a Gun, but really you should think of the gun as more of a wand anyways. You'll start off with a basic pistol, but you can buy or find an SMG, shotgun, or rifle as you explore. The real magic comes in all the different bullets you can slot into these guns. Each gun has 2 slots for bullets, and there's several different types. There's the basic elemental bullets that shoot fire, ice, poison, or electricity, but even within those categories, you'll find more unique effects like a bullet that calls down a lightning strike, or one that encases an enemy in an ice block. There's also wackier bullets, like one that charms an enemy and makes them your ally, or one that summons thorns. Diversifying your damage types in co-op is huge, and you can come up with some really fun combos together. One person can douse the enemy with an oil bullet before the next one lights them up with a fire one. You can lure an enemy to a liquid surface and electrocute them with a shock bullet. It is really cool to see how each element interacts with another. And it's also just nice to stack different debuffs like poison and burning to do some serious damage. When this all comes together in a cool boss fight, it can be really fun. The co-op is pretty solid here, but it's not without its faults. One of the downsides in Wizard with a Gun is a lack of build diversity. While yes, there are 4 different gun types, they don't really impact the gameplay all that much. I would have liked to have seen more gun types like different pistols or shotguns to further differentiate our characters. Similarly, there's a system for crafting mods for your clothing. We found this mechanic pretty bare bone and also left us wanting more options for buildcraft. And while yes, the bullets do give you those options to branch out, I also would have liked to have seen more support type bullets to further enhance co-op play. As it stands, there's really only the heal and revive bullet. It would have been nice to see some bullets that buff your teammates, for example. When it comes to co-op though, we really can't fault Wizard with a Gun too much, as our bigger criticisms have more to do with the base game as a whole.
We did it. The nightmare's over, dude.
I know.
It really was like there's a moment there I was like, is it worth it?
Is it worth actually improving my character?
Is it worth playing this game when this inventory system is so garbage?
Playing Wizard with a Gun is a solid co-op experience, but whether you like the game or not will have more to do with mechanics outside of co-op. The real crux of the game lies in how little is explained. The base tutorial, while worth doing, still explains very little. There are certain things the game just doesn't make as obvious as we'd like. Basic mechanics like leveling up bullets, or how if you place a chest 1 square away from a crafting bench, it'll register all its contents instead of having you run between the chest and the bench. Really wish we knew about this one sooner. The game relies a lot on discovery, which turns out to be a double-edged sword. There were moments when we figured something out, like how shooting a tree with a poison bullet will yield rotten wood, and thought, oh, that's pretty cool. But other times where the system is a little obtuse and your reaction to how something works turns out more like this.
Why are you the way that you are?
This can lead to some frustration since your progress on the game is mitigated by crafting, so if you can't find a certain item, you can't level up your bullet, meaning you can't damage a certain boss, and you feel like you hit a wall. To the game's credit, we did eventually figure out those solutions and were able to move on. Most of those frustrating moments happen in the first 5 or so hours of the game, at least for us, which can't be hard to get through, but once you push past that, I promise the game really finds its groove. And before we wrap this up, here's a couple tidbits I want to point out. The art design and music are a real treat in this game. We especially love the Western themed soundtrack. The gunplay is fine. I think it accomplishes what it needs to, but isn't anything to write home about. Lastly, the game did receive a recent update with some really nice additions, like allowing both players to access chests and crafting stations simultaneously, a new way to upgrade chest storage, thank God, and a handy new ping system. So to wrap this up, we do recommend Wizard with a Gun. You do have to be okay figuring things out on your own, and again pushing past those first couple hours, but if you enjoy co-op survival games, Wizard with a Gun hits the mark more often than not. Thanks for watching. If you want to support us, please consider subscribing or following us on our socials for more co-op content. You can also check out our merch store and check out some items listed below the description bar. And if you haven't already, join our official Discord server. You can find the links for all that down below. We have some great videos and streams coming up, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a thing. Thanks again. We'll catch you next time on another episode of The Co-op Bros.
Damn. Moment of silence. Wait, come over here, bro. Just come over here.
Oh no, my boy.
Moment of silence for Timbo.
Rest in peace, buddy.
This is for you,
Rest in
Timbo.
peace. Yeah, she went up for Timbo.